Buffett runs this annual charity auction on eBay where you can bid and the highest bidder gets to have lunch with him. My thinking was that I would bid for that lunch. At that time, the lunch was going for around $250,000 or so. And I said, I think this would be great. I can bid for the lunch. I had tried a couple of times before that and not always been outbid. But 2007, I was ready. I had net worth had gone up, and I said, okay, this time we're going to go make sure we win. And I talked to my friend Guy Spear about it, and he came in with me as well. And I think 650,100, we won that lunch bid. And my only expectation was to just thank him. I said, they just gave me a direct kind of one-on-one time. But Warren Buffett, when he runs this annual charity auction, he has a different kind of mental model. His model is that whatever people have paid for this lunch, he realizes it's a big deal for whoever's won it. He wants them to believe that they got a big bargain. And basically, so now the lunch goes for like 3-4 million. And he still focuses. So when I met him with my family and with Guy and his wife in 2008, Smith and Wollensky Steakhouse in New York City, Buffett basically, as soon as he sat down, he said, look, I have nothing going on all afternoon. I'm here with you as long as you want to hang out with me. And when you guys get sick and tired of me, you can let me know and I'll leave. But I don't have to leave. I can be here as long as you want. He just wants to make sure that he's providing more value and such. And I was addressing him as Mr. Buffett, Mr. Buffett this, Mr. Buffett that. And then, both my daughters were sitting on both sides of him. One was 10, one was 12. And he said to them, look, if you call me Warren, maybe the adults will learn, And so within about 5 minutes, you feel like you're having lunch with your grandfather. It puts you at ease. You forget that you're with, this amazing historical figure and such. During the lunch, I told Warren that my wife, Harina, she's a huge fan of Charlie Munger, a lot bigger fan of Charlie Munger than Warren. I told him, look, Harina is happy to be here, but her true love in life is Charlie. Warren is very competitive. So he says, Charlie is an extremely old and boring guy. Okay. I'm the one who's really interesting and exciting, not Charlie. He's just, this curmudgeon. You don't want to spend time with him, always pessimistic and so on. And then, he told us, he said, look, just to make sure you guys understand who's the better lunch date, I'm going to have you guys meet Charlie for lunch. And then after that, you'll know who's a better company. And I thought he was joking, because Charlie doesn't do these lunch auctions. You can bribe Warren and have lunch. You cannot bribe Charlie and have lunch. Okay. There's no platform to do that. But the following week, I got an email from Warren's assistant going to Charlie's assistant, basically saying, I met this couple in California. They're really fun. And I think you'll enjoy meeting them. And they seem to have the misconception that you're more interesting than me. But once they meet you, they'll know that I'm the guy. It was buy one, get one free. We got the one lunch and then the second lunch with Charlie was free. And I actually enjoyed the Charlie lunch more than the Warren lunch because he's just so candid, and so open. And Warren is also very candid and open, but there's a veneer of diplomacy, which is not there with Charlie, which is better. The lunch with Charlie led to a nice friendship with Charlie because we were in the same geography. And I started meeting him periodically. And then a few years later, I started playing bridge with him at the LA Country Club, usually Friday afternoons from like noon to 5 or 6 o'clock. We'd first meet for lunch for an hour or two. And then we'd play 3-4 hours of cards. Now Charlie doesn't go to the club anymore. I think he's going to be 98 in January. So those experiences, and Rick Goren used to join for those lunches as well, which is great. So the Warren lunch led to a very nice friendship with Charlie. But, like the Ginzu knife commercials, but wait, there's more. Warren has this party every year on Sunday. It's a brunch where he invites all the managers of Berkshire Hathaway and the board members and his close friends. Like Bill Gates is there. Sometimes Bono shows up. It's like, who's who. There's always some Hollywood celebrities there and whatnot. And he invites all the past lunch winners to that brunch. And so Guy and I started getting invited after 2008. And we used to always look at each other and say, we are the only two low life in this room, everyone else is happening. And sometimes, we'd be at the brunch and I'd tell Guy, right behind us is Bill Gates talking to Bono. Okay, so we have these, and then, there'd be NFL players there, and then the founder of Spanx. You just meet all these amazing, that NFL player, the big guy, last name Sue, Nagadanum Sue, something. Anyway, such a gentle guy. And then I see him on the field. He's not at all gentle, but in person is so gentle, so nice. Those lunches have continued. And then, I got to know Warren's assistant through the lunch. And I asked her if she would meet Guy and me for lunch. And she said, oh, yeah, she'd love to do that. So we started having lunch with Debbie on the Thursday before the Berkshire meeting. She said, normally Friday is crazy in the office, but if you come on Thursday, I'm free on Thursday. So every Thursday, once a year in May, we'd go to lunch with Debbie. And I found the lunches with Debbie were better than the lunch with Warren or Charlie. Because I'd always tell Debbie, listen, between us girls, can we talk? Okay. She said, what do you want to know, Mohnish? Tell me, I'll tell you anything, So this was before we knew whether Warren had a cell phone, in 2010, 2011. I asked Debbie, I said, Debbie, does he have a cell phone? So she'd laugh. She said, well, he has a cell phone. It's a little flip phone, but it sits in my desk. And she said, he doesn't know how to use it. And when he goes on a trip, I charge it and give it to him. And the only thing he knows how to do with it is when it rings, to open it and answer. And he knows how to call me because I put myself on speed dial. So if he has to call someone, he calls me and then I have that person call them. He says he knows, and there's nothing else he knows how to do with that phone. Okay. So anyway, there were a lot of interesting things I found out about how Warren kind of operated and, how he spent his day and different things. And we'd go to Omaha to Berkshire headquarters. Some years Warren would be there. And then I think one time he gave us a tour of the headquarters. And then I've exchanged some letters with him. I sent him some stock tips. Since you're not sending stock tips, someone's got to send the stock tips. And so I'll send him stock tips once in a while. It's kind of a little bit surreal for me because, we are not as humans supposed to live in the time of Einstein or at the time of Newton or at the time of Gandhi or anything like that. Or, but here we are actually living at the time of what I think will end up being two historical figures that will go down in history. And even 100 years from now, 50 years from now will be, talking about them and such. And so the fact that they are in the flesh with us and the fact that, by accident, I got to interact and got to know them, it's been a lot of fun.